Hello and welcome to the Reaper. So another in the series of videos about setting the joystick or the HOTAS controls for DCS. In this case we're looking at the Su-25T. Now I use an X56 Rhino HOTAS. You would almost certainly use a different one, but they are all generally roughly laid out the same. So as I assign the different controls to the joystick, I'll explain where I put them on the joystick, and if you want you can do the same kind of setup as me. If you then watch the tutorial videos that we do, it will make it a lot easier if you've got your setup the same as mine. As well as that, if you've got lots of different aeroplanes like I have, it's very important when you're setting the controls to keep them all as uniform as possible. So if you've got a button, say, that you use for flaps on your HOTAS, make sure you use it for flaps on all of your aircraft that have flaps, and so on, to keep things as simple as possible. Okay, so let's get to work. So from the main menu we're going to go to Options, click on Controls. We're going to go to this left box here and select the Su-25T. Okay, and then the first thing, well, in fact I should explain, so this column here is for the action, and there will be hundreds of different actions for each aircraft, but I'm just setting the bare bones of what you need to fly and fire your weapons. You can add extra ones if you like afterwards. Here's which category that action falls into. Here's the keyboard key that we've got set to that action. Here is the left side of the HOTAS that we've got set to that action, so the buttons on the on the thrust stick side, and here are the right side of the HOTAS, so the buttons on the control stick side. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is this box here, the category, and go to Axis Commands, which I like to do first. Let's scroll down. So the first thing you'll note is that I've already got commands set up. That's because obviously I've got them set up already, so we're just going to essentially just tape over them. So the first thing we want to do is zoom view on an axis. So this allows us to essentially zoom in if we want to look at something carefully, or zoom back out if you want an overview of the cockpit. Very useful. You need it really if you want to fly to any decent degree. So we're going to double click on the left side of the HOTAS. I have a turning knob on the top of my left HOTAS on the thrust stick, so I'm going to double click, mouse click on that. Left mouse button. I'm going to turn the knob fully right and then fully left, and you can see it's found it, and then click OK, and then we can test it by turning it right and left. Okay, and that's that done. Next we need the engine thrust. Now this aircraft has two engines, so we're going to want to separately do the left and the right thrust stick, and mine has a separator, so you can separate it and just do left or right engine. So let me do that now. So left engine, double click, move it forwards, move it backwards, it's picked it up, and then test the left thrust stick, that's fine. Double click on right, and let's do the same with the right side of the thrust stick. It's picked it up and test it, and it's got it. Now reattach them together again. Okay. Next we want to do the rudder, so this time we're going to the right control stick. Now you'll probably have pedals that you want to assign to that. I can't use my feet very well, so I use the twist grip on my control stick, so I'm going to double click there, twist right, twist left. It's picked it up. Okay, test it. Okay, now because this is an axis on the control stick, we want to go to axis tune. And we can see here that the red dot is inside that black square right in the center, so we don't need to set any dead zone. If it were off to the left or to the right, we would want to set some dead zone to make sure that it weren't giving any control inputs when the stick was neutral, but it's fine like that. Curvature, want to add some curvature, I do a basic 25 on all aircraft. This means, if I can get it there, that movements, small movements around the center of the stick give more accuracy, more definition, and movements at the extreme give less definition. This allows things like formation flying, things like that where you need small movements on the stick, more accuracy, so that's a good thing. Okay, then roll, double click on that, move the stick fully left, fully right, it's picked it up. Okay, test. Okay, axis tune, dead in the center, so we don't need dead zone, and curvature, knock up to 25. Okay, and pitch, double click on that, stick forward, stick backwards, it's picked it up. Okay, test, axis tune, and we've got a little bit of deflection from that. So you see that dot there, that red dot is settling outside of the black zone. So what we want to do is add a little bit of dead zone just about there, so it's in the flat section of the dead zone, so it doesn't give any input. Why does it do that? It's just because the control stick is a bit worn out because it's old, basically. Okay, and curvature, Add 25 as usual. Okay. So that's the access commands done. Now we want to do the more binary kind of buttons commands. So we're going to click from here to search. It allows us to search for any command. We're going to start on the left side of the HOTAS thrust stick. So what have we got? First of all, I've got a 2-stage switch that I use for my air brake. So I'm going to type in here air brake. There, it's come up. We've got an off and on option, and so for the off option, I'm going to go up on that switch, and for the air brake on, down on that switch. Okay. Next is my flaps button that I always use for my flaps. So let's type in flaps. There it is. We've got up and landing position. Oh, for some reason I don't have it bound here, so that's a bit silly of me. So flaps up. I'm going to have the up button there, and down to landing position on the down side of that button there. Okay, that's flaps done. And next I have another button which I use for weapon change to cycle through the different weapons, and if we have it on the aeroplane, and we do have it on the aeroplane, let's just type weapon there. So we've got weapon change there. Double click on the left side of the HOTAS, press that, button 1 there. Okay, and the only other one I'm going to have on this left side is an auto start and an auto stop option, which allows you to just press it and it will start starting the plane up, and you can go make a cup of tea or whatever you want to have. And to find that, I believe the command is engines start and stop. So there we go. Engine start. We've got an iron switch on the top right of the left HOTAS, so I'm going to press up there and press down there for stop. Okay, that's the left HOTAS done. Now we're going to move on to the right HOTAS. So first of all, let's look at the trigger. So we're just going to type in here fire. You've got weapon fire. That's the only trigger we'll need. Double click on the right side of the HOTAS, press the trigger, and that's done. Okay, next we're going to have a button on the top of the stick, which I use for locking. So let's get rid of that and type in lock. And there it is, target lock. So we're going to double click on the right side of the HOTAS there, press lock. Is that done? Next we've got a 4-way hat switch at the top right of the stick that we're going to use for our trim. So let's type in trim. We've got trim here, so let's type in here, left side of the HOTAS, the left side of that hat switch, and down, and up, and right. Allows us to add our trim. The next is the TDC. I have another hat switch at the bottom right of the top of the stick, which we use for TDC control, up, left, right, and down. So target, we type in here, and there they are, target designated up, down, left, right. So let's start doing that. So down in the down position of that switch, left in the left position of that switch, and right in the right position of that switch, and finally up. Okay, that's that done. Now next we've got a third on the left side of the top of the stick, another 4-way hat switch. We're going to use this for changing different targeting modes, and to get that I'm going to go just to the all. When you do that, it puts everything in alphabetical order, and at the very top we've got the brackets 1, nav modes, missile aiming mode, air to ground mode. Those are the 3 that I want. There's an additional gun reticle switch, but I'm not interested in that. So let's use these different commands on this switch, on this hat switch. So let's go up to, let me get this right now. We want to go left to navigation mode. I got it wrong for some reason. Obviously I don't fly this plane very much. We want up for longitudinal aiming mode. Basically you want to fire a missile. Air to ground mode, we want right. Okay, that's that. And the only other thing we want on this right HOTAS control stick is our wheel brake. So let's go back to search. Wheel brake on, right HOTAS, double click, click the button at the front of the control stick, which I always use for my wheel brake, press it, OK, and that's us done. There's another thing I should point out. Let's go back in there. Let's see if I can find it. So if I press it, we'll go to all here, and I press I on the keyboard. It goes to the ELINT pod on and off. If I press O on the keyboard, it goes to electrico-optical system on and off. Those are already bound from without you having to do anything. But interestingly, another one that you'll need to use quite often is this one here, laser ranger off and on, in conjunction with those other 2 I find. And so I added it to the U key because it's near I and O, those other two we looked at, and so I can press those three close to each other. So I just clicked on the keyboard here, press U, OK. So I'd suggest you do that as well. It's a lot easier than pressing right shift and O, I find. OK, that's it done. Like I said, it's just the bare bones of the aircraft, but that's all you need for flying and firing missiles, etc. Hope that helps, and I'll see you later.